Does anybody want to start with the prayer, initial prayer? Okay, thank you. So be it. Okay. Muito obrigado. Right. Let's go for the. So our meeting today is talking about the 160 years of Spiritism. Has anybody followed what happened this week? No? The first release of the Spirits book, which is our masterpiece. The Spirits book, we will talk about it during the meeting, but this is the main book of Spiritism. But if we go back and see it, and saying Spiritism, we're not saying Spirits book. Does anybody has a clue about why I used Spiritism, 160 years, comforting hearts?
Because that's the doctrine, the book itself, right?
Yeah, but does the doctrine is just the Spirit's book?
No.
Interesting. Right, we will try to talk about it during the meeting today. I don't wanna keep it to give into many tips before we start, but today we will be talking about the Spirit's book and the Gospel according to Spiritism. So the study, no. The Spirit's book was released. The first release was in 1857, and Gospel according to Spiritism 1863. So it was a little later. Okay, so our objective today is to pay tribute 160 years anniversary and understand for the humankind. Is there any importance for the humankind?
Here we change everything.
I would say didn't change everything, changed many hearts.
Yes.
Right? Welcome, Mr. Hildebrand. So our meeting today, just since we are just on the second slide, is about the Spiritism 160 years anniversary. So to talk about why I use Spiritism, the Spirit's book, and as the title of this meeting, I will use a text to clarify a little bit. So new matters. When new matters rise, new words are needed for the sake of clarity of language, in order to avoid the confusion inherent in multiple meanings for same terms. For example, the words spiritual, spiritualist, or spiritualism each have a well-defined meaning. To give each of them a new meaning in order to apply it to the Spirit's doctrine would be to multiply the already numerous causes of ambiguity. Strictly speaking, spiritualism is the opposite of materialism, and everyone who believes there is something within them that is more than matter are spiritualists. However, it does not necessarily allow that that does not necessarily follow that they must therefore believe in the existence of spirits or in communication with the invisible world. Therefore, instead of the words spiritual or spiritualism for the design of this latter belief, we have coined and employed the words spiritist and spiritism. Have any of you ever seen this text before? Have you ever, Mr. Hildebrand?
It's exactly the
As
but I think it's the introduction right of the book.
correct. This is the first paragraph. So this brings us a clue that there is a neologism created by Kardec to designate a new doctrine, which is called Spiritism. And this is very important for us because, as he said, it's not creating anything really new, but just trying to differentiate from what already exists. Because many people think that anything that's related to spirits is a spiritism. Not really, right? That's the spiritualism as he did there, which is the opposite of materialism. But that's not so clear for people from Brazil, because usually we confuse everything with spiritism. Spirits is spiritism. But it is interesting that here in Canada we don't see that much confusion, because there are spiritualists doctrines, and they call themselves spiritualists, not spiritists. So with this introduction comes the question. So has the communication with spirits started when the spirits book were released? No. When it started then? before, with the ancestors. Including the Bible, there are a lot of passages talking about mediumship there, right? And the forbiddenness of using mediumship in the Bible, which means that it exists, right? If something is forbidden, it's because it exists. So, in the Spirits book, there is the question 221, which Kardec questioned the spirits. Are the instinctive sentiment of the existence of God in the presentiment of the future life due to a retrospective memory that humans have even in the primitive state? Where does it come, this sentiment, this feeling about God? This is basically what he's asking here. Even in the primitive state, would we have it?
Yeah, is there in the conscience?
The conscious, it's written somewhere. In the conscious, we know that's written the divine laws, right? So, how do we communicate with God? Through the divine laws. So, yeah, that's a good answer. Why don't you read the answer for us, Mr. Danilo?
They are memory they have retained of what they knew as spirits before incarnating, but pride often suffocates this sentiment.
So, yes, it's in our memory, but most of the time our pride talks louder and we forget. But I brought this question because of the item A of the question, the sequence of the question, when Kardec insists with the spirits. Is it the same memory, our own certain beliefs related to the spirit's doctrine and which are found in all cultures? Is it the same memory? Like the existence of God? The question is, before we were talking about the feeling about the existence of God, if it does exist within us. And the answer was very clear, yes, but sometimes our pride, this feeling, right? And then the item A, insisting about this memory, Kardec asked if this is the same for all religions, including Spiritism.
They're just different. We have a different description or the way to interpret the information, but basically it's the same because God
But let's come back. What we were talking about before we got here. Before we got to the questions, we were talking about the creation of the Spiritism, or the release of the Spirits book. Now we are talking about if God exists or not, and then we're talking, oh, by the way, this memory is also the same for doctrine, which was just being created.
That makes sense, right? You just said that it existed before, right?
Right. And then the answer, Mr. Hildenbrand, why don't you read the answer for us?
The doctrine is always that is why we find it proof that this is true. Since it preserves an institution of its spirit state, even its spirit processes and its instinctive awareness of the invisible.
So basically, the spirits are saying the doctrine is as old as the world is. which is interesting. Well, it was just being created with the book. No, he created the term. We just read before you got in. So there you go. We just read the introduction, which means Kardec created the neologism, the term. So, okay, the doctrine is old, the belief is old, the creed that there is communication with spirits already existed, but there is something new that was created. And what was that? What was new then? Because the spirits are saying that's as old as. What is the really difference that Spiritism or the Spirits book brought at that time? I will give you a tip. I will give you a tip. Jesus talked about it. What Jesus said about Spiritism. You guys are good. You guys are sharp. Good. Oh, you can use consoler. You can use. I'm using as the title as well, the comforter. We will see why I'm using also this time, because sometimes I use consoler, which is consolator. Sorry, consoler is another thing. And yes, this is good. So you guys are sharp. So in the Gospel of John, the chapter 14, there is the passage. So Jesus telling his disciples, if you love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter. He may remain with you forever. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you will know him, because he will remain with you and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. So this translation that I'm using here, which is really using comforter there, is the King James. And some translations, they use other meanings. In Portuguese, it's more common to use consolador. The translation for the Latin translation.
In Portuguese, you say o Consolador.
O Consolador. Consolador prometido. Because this passage here, this chapter of the Spirits, the Gospel of John, it's called Jesus Comforts His Apostles. Okay, so that's also why he's saying he will send the Comforter. Great. So we know that, okay, there was a promise from Jesus, and we know that Spiritism is kind of related to it. But how do we know that Spiritism is really the Comforter? Because here is not really. I will send the Comforter, which is Spiritism, to you. Just send the Comforter. So, for example, the Muslims, they believe that Muhammad, yeah, he was the Comforter. Other creeds, they believe the Catholic Church protests saying that's not Spiritism. No, 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 no. We're wrong. But how do we know? Yeah, yes, correct. So how do we know that this is Spiritism? Well, basically the answer is in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Spiritism in the chapter 6, which is called the Promised Counselor. Here again, using the other word, but we can use as the same because they're synonym. Spiritism has come to state time should fulfill Christ's promise. The Spirit of Truth presides over its establishment. It calls humankind to observe the law and teaches all things by enabling them to understand what Christ said only in parables. So this is a piece of Kardec's comments in the Gospel according to Spiritism. He's saying we will receive the Spirit of Truth, which is also said by Jesus, right? It will remain with you forever, the Spirit of Truth. And he's saying that it's fulfilling Jesus' promises. Interesting. And what else? There is a very important thing there by the end. Why did Jesus talk in parables? Or through parables?
Because it's a way, two reasons. Right? One, at the time people weren't capable of understanding. Not maybe that they should understand. And so a way to make the teaching of right? But basically try to understand what he means by a certain term to advice.
That's a great answer. Basically, a parable has many layers of understanding. What does it mean for us? Because that people who weren't ignorant during that time, they would understand the very superficial layers. Or we could get closer to the truth, we would understand more the parable. And then we see this a lot in the Gospel according to Spiritism, because usually the chapters start with a passage of the Gospel and then the whole interpretation of that passage, which is understanding or enabling, as Kardec mentions there, us to understand what Jesus was saying in a deeper way. For example, I was in Cuiabá 2 weeks ago, or actually a week and a little before, and we were understanding with the parable of I don't know the name in English, do manto nupcial. I don't know how to say that in English. Whatever. And how deep it is, that parable. It's so unbelievable, deep parable going inside the true spirit, what we are, taking the ego aside and understanding that also the ego is an important piece for the living being that we are right now as incarnated spirits, but is not the true being. Because that being, the ego, works for the essential being, which is the immortal spirit. So we understand very deeply this ego serves the essential being, and how we are supposed to behave. So Jesus teaches us in a passage that if we just read it ipsis literi, oh my God, Jesus, what Jesus is telling here? Because he's saying by the end, the king says, throw the person on the streets and let them starve and die. Wow, if you read that, oh my God, this is a bad guy. But you start understanding how deep it is, the layers of this. So going forward, in the same chapter, there is a passage from the Spirit of Truth. And I would love to read for you because this brings us a lot of reflection. Therefore, come to me, you who suffer and who are overburdened, and you will be smoothed and consoled. Do not look elsewhere for strength and consolation, for the world is unable to provide them. God makes a supreme appeal to your hearts through Spiritism. Listen to it. May impiety, deceit, error, and disbelief be uprooted through your aching souls. They are the monsters that suck your purest blood and which nearly always wound you mortally. In the future, humble and submissive to our Creator, may you practice His divine law, love, and pray. Be docile before the spirits of the Lord. Invoke Him the deepest of your heart, and then He will send you His beloved Son to teach you and say these good words. I am here. I have come to you because you called me. The Spirits of Truth, Bordeaux, 1861. It's a consoling and very motivating passage that a very evolved spirit has told us. Isn't it almost the same as reading the passage of Jesus telling us, come to me, you who suffer, and I will set you free. This is why we truly understand that the Spirit of truth is the Spirit of Jesus. They are the same. Exactly. And if we go back to the John's passage here, I have added the versicle 18 because I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. They end the passage almost the same way. Call me and I will be there.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Is there a clear information to why he didn't say it was him? So
And the I don't remember the name in English, Obras Póstumas, Possum Works or book. He mentioned, Kardec mentions a little about this because it wasn't needed, and also we truly understand that if you remember when the codification came, there was still some Inquisition ruling the world. For example, there were some books, spirits books, who were that were sent to Spain, and they were all burned in a public square by the Inquisition. So there was a massive rule of the Catholic Church still during that time. So I would say there was two things: a conscious to not create. And truly, does Jesus need to sign anything? When we see a text like this, can't we recognize the elevation of the passage?
I would say not for people that are already in the Spiritism, but it might have an appeal for who are not. But just personal.
Yeah, it's all right. And again, do we really need? No, right?
I was just about
We can link with lots of other passage, like the question 625, when Kardec asks about the model and guide of humanity, and the answer is Jesus. There is a passage from the Medium's book that is very clear that they are the same, because he says, I have said to you, all who suffer come to me, and I repeat that. So he's saying exactly this, but many people, as we saw before, like pride, try to avoid this aim. Whatever, they will have their time. That's all right.
Lots of people in religion, they get stuck in more of the who person versus what the message.
Correct. For example, in the book Astral City, no Solar, the introduction of the book is written by Emmanuel. And one of the points Emmanuel brings up, does it really matter who André Luiz was? No, it doesn't matter. Because there are still many people in the Spiritism asking, oh, if he was Carlos Chagas or whoever. Does it really matter? It doesn't matter. Because he was. Who is the true spirit behind that? Because he was, during that state, Jesus. He is truly the spirit of truth. In Português, we could say, ele estava Jesus, mas ele é o Espírito da Verdade. It's a little hard to do it in English, I know. I have been talking a lot with a lot of people. How do you do in US with this? In French, it's the same, because they have a verb which is the same as the verb to be. You can't really differentiate clearly, so you have to put a state in that verb, like I am now Eric, but I really am a mortal being.
With multiple names.
Yes, with multiple names. So we are truly today here celebrating this book, which brought us so much clarification, so much comfort and consolation. And it is important for the Spiritists to read it, to really understand what is within this book. Because for 160 years, it has been comforting so much hearts. So let's talk a little bit about the book. So I hope it will motivate you to go and open it and read it. So it is the first book of the Spiritist codification, right? It is the masterpiece, the basis of everything. All the other books are mentioning the Spirit's book. And there were, it wasn't supposed to show all this stuff together, but anyways. That one doesn't work. Anyway, which is the Spirit's codification is based in 5 books. Do you guys remember which books? The Spirit's book, the Gospel according to Spiritism, the Genesis, the Medium's book, Heaven and Hell. Good. So that's great. So basically in sequence, it is the Spirit's book, the Medium's book, the Gospel according to Spiritism, Heaven and Hell, and then the Genesis. Okay. That we can say that was really forming the Spiritist doctrine or Spiritism. We can say that it was started, it was released with the Spirit's book, which is the masterpiece once again, and it is the main guide for all the other books. So if we could put in a circle, the Spirit's book is in the center, and all the others to it. It was first published in April 18th, 1857, so 160 years last Tuesday. But was it the first and never changed? What do you think? It was just that. Was it created and it is the same that was released in April 18th, 1857?
There's a few words there, like
It has changed.
Yeah.
So if you take the Spirit's book today, we have 19 questions. The first release was 550, something like this. And 2 or 3 years later, I think it was 1859 that Kardec released the current version.
Yeah, but in this book of Cosmos, he said that the Spirit told the genius to publish the first one, Isaac one, which is 900 something. The second one,
I think the second was already with the 2019, but I can verify for you. But this is mainly because it was what we call in Portuguese questões tronco in the first version, and the second one was more detailed. Well, they almost double the number of questions. So it was released by the French educator Allan Kardec. Only his name was, do you guys remember? Hippolyte Leon Denizar Rivaio. Muito bem. Muito bem. It was like the nice Portuguese, right? Need a very long name. Wouldn't work here in Canada. And Allan Kardec was a pseudonym that he used based in 2 or 3 incarnations before he was Hippolyte Leon Denizar Rivaio. And it was told him by his guide spirit, which was São Luís.
So was it also to avoid people attacking him? I think I read something about
it.
That.
Was not exactly to attack him, but not to attack the Spiritism, because many people would relate his name from the education that he was trying to force a new doctrine because he was a well-known person in the academic society of France and Paris. So that's why also the spirits told him, use this pseudonym and everything's going to be fine. And the structure of this book is very interesting because it brings many answers to questions that we have since the beginning of the world. Like what are the origins of the spirits, or our origin, because we are spirits. The purpose of life, the order of the universe, what is evil, what is good, and the afterlife, right? Vida após a morte. And this is very interesting because it is a book made in the very primitive way of philosophy, which is questions and answers. The way Socrates basically worked. Plato's were also questions and answers. Questions and answers. The book itself is divided in 4 parts or 4 books. The very first one is the origin of the universe and the attributes of God, which brings us the very first question, a great reflection, because many people still think, what is God? Or who is God? But Kardec never asked, who is God? He asked, what is God? Why did he ask what is God and not who is God? Because he already understood, well, the question is the first in the Spirit's book, doesn't mean that was his first question to the Spirits. First of all, I'm pretty sure that was very well revised, this question later for him to put in as the first. But what is the answer? The answer brings the answer also why he had never asked who, but what. Supreme intelligence, the first cause of everything. So the answer is also not stating that's a guy, but something way beyond that, which supreme intelligence, first cause of everything. Very deep. So that's one of the questions of the first book. The book 2, it's entitled The Spirit World, and basically describes the spiritual life. Talks about what is the spirit, what is incarnation, what is disincarnation, how it works, and many other, how we classify the many spirits worlds and stuff like this. Very, very interesting from the point of view of answering basic questions. And there is the very important question that we always repeat here with the mission of the spirits, which is the question 115 that Kardec asks, were some spirits created bad and some spirits good? And the answer, no, all of them were created simple and ignorant. But all of them have, and God has entitled them, which evolve to reach what? The perfect, the perfect and pure, not the perfect, the eternal and pure happiness. And then it's a very beautiful question. We also invite you all to read it. On the book 3 are the moral laws. And this is, from Kardec's point of view, it was the main piece of the book, because here brings the true meaning of Spiritism. Before it was just answering questions we have, but here is a true guide how we will evolve. If we don't follow these laws, accept them, we will not reach the eternal and pure happiness. We will stay away. So the moral laws, very important. Book 4 is the hopes and consolations. So bring answers to many of our doubts about why we suffer. Why with me? How does it happen? And it also has the masterpiece answer of the question 919, which is know yourself, right? Okay, well, we are almost done, and we will wrap up now with a beautiful passage. 10 years ago, Divaldo Franco was in the second Brazilian Spiritist Congress, segundo Congresso Espírita Brasileiro, and he psychographed a letter during the meeting, Joana de Angelis. And he made one phenomenon that we call mirror writing. Do you guys know what is mirror writing? It's basically writing backwards. So now, and this was also in English. They were in Brazil, in Brasilia, and he wrote a letter in English backward. He doesn't speak English. I will send later the link so you guys can watch, because there is the passage that they read. They actually read the letter in public during the event. But the letter is beautiful because Joana is bringing us a beautiful reflection about the Spirit's book, because it was celebrating during that time, 10 years ago, 150 years of the Spirit's book. And I would love to read for you this psychography, because it's basically wrapping up everything that we're talking today. The human race of nowadays has built upon itself violence, delinquency, and dissatisfaction as a result of advanced technology and a crazy pursuit of many concepts. However, these urgent problems within find an answer within the Spirit's principle. The Spirit's book is the key counterbalance the disturbing questions of social and emotional behavior prevailing in our times. The Spirit's book makes many people aware of their responsibilities through the rational faith well founded upon facts. This such will bring about the reveal of Christianity in all its purity. Therefore, the Spirit's book is the synthesis of science, philosophy, and religion. Bring God's answer to men, please. The Comforter promised, we're just finishing. Sure. The Comforter promised by Jesus. Joana de Angelis. Beautiful, isn't it? Very simple. Imagine yourself writing it in English, even though you guys are fluent in English, writing it backwards. So basically, this is what we brought for you guys today, and I hope brings some motivation to read this beautiful book. It looks like to be a little big, but it's lovely and so actual, even though it's 160 years.
That they read it every year.
Yeah.
Every single year. To refresh both the spiritual book and the gospel.
The gospel.
And she uses to carry the gospel.
Yes.
After his phenomenal naturalized, because he died. So she used to.
Yeah, he was a very important guide to motivate us all, right? Like we call a compass, showing us the true north, which is not Canada. Do you guys have any questions, anything to add? Anderson, you're very quiet. And we are all learners. We call ourselves here apprentices. Sure.
Since we're talking about care in the book, right? Everyone they has one of those, right?
Yes.
The book said less than one language. We have probably 1,000 times storage.
Correct.
Things are probably 1,000 or 10,000 or million books.
Yes.
It's a good tip, right? All the time, every day. Maximum 10 times. Well, now open the book and the book is open. The videos talking about I finished Spiritismo. And I would read one chapter, one page.
And every time you read, you have a different
Yes. And you kind of relax. You can
Especially that you learn all the things makes sense for you. It wasn't as clear.
right? So we can carry our
Yes, we can carry our gospel is way lighter than this version I have. For people who like reading the books in pages, I also advise to have it. I personally have it, even though I use a lot reading through the computer or the cell phone or my Kindle as well. But it is good because I go there sometimes and just relax. Spiritizar.
Afterwards, always checking his phone.
Yes.
And he would kind of make remarks from the book, right? So it's interesting. You can find that really fast.
Well,
find a book, right? Just type the word and it will go.
yes. It makes easier, that's right, to surf within the book. And also it's very nice because we can go there, copy something and share the thing. This is very good. And also we can go there and check what someone said about it. Well, before, imagine how it was during Bezerra de Menezes' time that someone would say, oh, but in the Spirits book was saying this. I don't remember this, just even though I read it every single year, I don't remember that, you know. Church, and okay, no, it's not that. You're creating your own understanding, and believe me, today we have still many people who creates their own understanding of very clear, and that's what we call disservicing. Come on in, guys. Oh my God, you're talking in French with them? Come on, there's a... My fault.
Chega na turma da Mônica! We are talking about humbleness today, and once upon a time, the girls challenged the boys to see which one was the smartest one. Monica.
The boys should draw something very important on a piece of paper.
I invented a machine that is able to create any ice cream flavor you want. I am the smartest one.
Wow! Already the winner.
No way. I'm the smartest one. I created a foolproof plan to get to some sound. Your joke. Your plan is a joke. I created a toy using recycled items. I am the best.
Oh, he's the most handsome one. Yes, Shikabansu, what did you do?
No, forget it. I think I'm not that smart.
Why not?
Well, you said to draw something important. So I drew nature, history, and all the important things that I have inside my heart.
Wow, that's smart. And beautiful. I believe everybody agrees that you are the winner.
Hooray!
With his humbleness, Chico Bento was able to reach his friend's heart and win the prize. Hey!
Yep.
Where's my...
I don't want the mess.
Good job, guys. High five. All right.
Okay, so
Our pass now.
okay, who's gonna do the pass?
We will go for Leo first.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
Yeah, and very good today. Very good. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So if you guys wanna rest, there are two guys here.
Sounds good.
And
Yeah,
agora
we can organize.
o filme da Doris estava onde? Não estava no DVD não, né?
Ah, não.
Porque estava quase no fim, na parte bem contraída. Faltava acho que uns 4 minutos.
Obrigado.
So, adicionar o videozinho para eles.
I think we're going to do it.
Guys, you're gonna just turn it off. Put the music here. Let's close our eyes. Our eternal Father within us, helping to understand why we are here, to understand what's the purpose of this life, what is our mission. Then we remember about this beautiful book. Remember to be grateful to our Father by having the opportunity of practicing the Spiritist doctrine in our lives, not just learning about it, but practicing, feeling and living the truth. May all of us have the opportunity to share this knowledge. May all of us have the opportunity to bring this book to hands in need. May all of us be part of comforting our brothers and sisters who also need this comfort that brings so much light to our lives. May all of us have Jesus in our hearts, learning how to be meek and humble as apprentices of Jesus. So be it. All right, we'll go to the pass.
Ah, segunda vez aqui.
Só lembrando que a semana que vem a gente tem o nosso geral às 2 horas da tarde. A gente deve tentar, tem que conversar ainda com a Ana Carol, não tive muito tempo, tá com assim.